Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Triad of the Force podcast, a podcast from three Puerto Rican friends coming together to do deep dives into Star Wars and other nerd related media. This week, we're continuing our conversation with Ty Black from Wit and Folly. If you listened to our last episode, you know we discussed all things Campbell and myth, heroines, and journeys. If you haven't yet, please make sure to go back and check out that episode. Our conversation with Ty lasted over 7 hours, so needless to say, we had a blast chatting with her. After we were done discussing myth in the main saga films, we shifted gears and had a discussion about The Mandalorian, which, in our opinion, is very mythological. This one is a shorter one and timely, since season 2 of The Mandalorian will drop in a little over 2 weeks. So we hope you enjoy this episode.
So guys, we've been talking about femininity in Star Wars, and that was great, but we actually wanted to have a little discussion here at the end of the podcast and our feelings about The Mandalorian. So what do you think, Ty?
So Mando is like obviously one of my favorite Star Wars things like ever. And it really speaks to all like the things that I loved originally when I started digging into Star Wars after The Last Jedi, which to me means that those mythic threads are still there, they're still present, and I still believe in the story because of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So yeah, it very much, I have a lot of hope with it.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of hope with like where it's going to go with like, you know, the women in it as well, because obviously it's very male centric right now, but I think that it's going to transcend a lot of those themes.
Once you bring in Ahsoka Tano and
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
We shall see.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting.
In 3 weeks?
Yeah,
yes.
I know. So I just remember when the trailers first came out, and then when all the hype happened. I actually didn't watch Mandalorian until months after it was completely finished. Yeah.
Dangerous.
I just didn't think at first, remember that they said it was going to be Boba Fett, and I was like, I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first trailers that came out, I'm sorry.
I know. I'm with you.
And then you saw the trailers, and it's like, oh, it's just going to be like all fanboying and, yay. And I just thought it was just going to be, or maybe making fun of itself or something. I don't know. So finally I sat down with my husband. We're like, everybody's been talking about The Mandalorian for forever. Let's just sit down and suck it up and let's watch it. And we binged the whole thing in a day. We were just like, what is happening? This is so good.
The only bad thing is that the episodes were too short.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with it, because it's like, I love that they're so short because they're perfect, so it leaves me wanting more, but I still want more at the same time.
But at the same time, they're actually complete in themselves. You get a story. You get a complete story in each and every one of them. You don't go on random tangents like...
There's no filler.
And then the way it was filmed, it's very reminiscent of The Force Awakens, and then you bring a lot of back into the westerns of how Star Wars started, and the way they treat the characters is very good. I don't know. There was just something about The Mandalorian that brings you nostalgia, but still adds something to the story at the same time.
I think it was also a breath of fresh air that it was kind of serialized episodes, like in the olden days, of like TV show watching, or like there wasn't necessarily like this big overarching thing that like every episode had to seg into, even though there kind of is, but like there's still some independence in how the episodes are structured that makes it, easier to watch because there's no expectation, at least when you start watching. Although I've read allegedly that season 2 will be somewhat different.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll wait and see. We shall critique as it comes out. But I think it's always fantastic that it's a completely different story. I mean, it's not based on the Skywalkers. It's not based on the Palpatines.
Yes.
Yeah. And it brings life into the myth of Star Wars again. It makes you think about the myth of Star Wars all over again.
Yeah, it's really special, like how they were able to do that, honestly, because everyone's like, well, we have to have some kind of Force element in this. Like everyone wants that. I mean, not everyone wants that. Some people are like totally fine with just exploring like the underbelly of Star Wars and like, Han Solo-esque type of things, but they managed to like do
Both.
That, yeah, there's
Baby
both.
Yoda. Yeah.
That's like what I'm getting at. Yeah, because like bringing in something like the child with Baby Yoda, as everybody is calling it. Like I've adopted the child into my vocabulary.
I like the child
No.
better than Baby Yoda because
No,
he's not.
Baby Yoda.
He's not
He's
Baby
not
Yoda.
Yoda.
Though. He's not
He's Baby Yoda.
And
He's
some
not a
people
child either.
actually
He's 50
think
years old.
true, but
He's
a
a
lot of
grown-ass
people.
man.
A lot of people think he's
but-
actually Yoda. One and two.
Yeah.
In
Well,
his
my mom
species,
thinks that,
he's
but
still
my
a
mom don't know
child, even
anything,
if he's 50.
true. Age
Yeah.
is
Which brings like, I don't know. At least there's like a weird thing. Like when I was watching it, I was like, how can it be more like Baby Yoda? Like just take things in. Like Baby Yoda didn't question things. He just was just sitting there, being super mindful, like using the force as it was needed. Like
Yeah.
to me, that was like what I loved about Mando. Like how can
Yeah.
it be more like Baby Yoda?
Mobius strip part 4.
Yeah, seriously, because like you do know that is exactly what they're trying to tell us. Like
Yes,
it's
yes.
the coolest thing. It is the coolest shit that like Mando is the hero, supposed hero of this
Yeah.
whole thing. But Mando is constantly being shown up by
Volume tie.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No, you went low.
Am I still low?
Oh, low.
Yeah, you're
a little
low.
bit.
Dynamic mic, which I didn't know that when I got it, because
Yeah.
I think that's what it does that. It's when I change the hold on.
I don't know, but you're very low right now. We can barely
Maybe it
hear
was
you.
maybe it was the clap. Who knows?
This happens all the time with Marie Claire's mic, and I'm always like, you just went really low, fix it, and she's like, it's happens all the time with hers. So now I'm the problem.
No,
Okay,
Wait,
tell me what
maybe
it does.
try the clap.
it's only a
Low.
mild inconvenience.
Okay, am I good now?
Now
No, it's dynamic, so it's gonna like
it
It'll
changes
do its
when you
thing
move.
on its own time.
it changes when I move because it's changing verse on like. Can you hear me now?
I mean, yes. I think you should just keep going. Otherwise, we'll just stay
You
here
can-
forever.
You can change the volume here if it's really bad. I don't know how bad it is, but if you have
Oh,
to.
it's
Oh,
great.
we're
You're
back.
coming
There you
back.
go, you're-
Okay,
You're coming
all
back.
right, Okay.
Do hand gestures, I think.
God, it's my hand gestures. Holy cow. Okay.
It was the hand gestures.
I gotta keep my hands from going in front of the mic. Oh my God. Okay. So,
Okay, so we were going back to Baby Yoda. Mhm.
yes, Baby Yoda. Yeah, because he like
Or this child.
he's teaching you what to do and what to be. So there's this thing in Mando like where they say different species age differently or something like
Mhm.
that, and it's kind of speaking to how all human beings grow differently. We all grow up
Yeah.
differently. We all have different lessons we have to learn.
Mhm.
So when you said that like about how you want to be mindful like Baby Yoda, you want to take things in and all of that. That's what it's trying to tell you, because Mando thinks he's grown, he's got it all figured out, but like this child that he thinks is a child but is more
Yeah.
like a young person,
Mhm.
because that's what children are. In like a meta
And
way.
wise in their innocence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
like wise in his
Because
innocence. And what you were saying, Ty, that it sets it up like Mando is the main character and the hero, but he's saved by the child on multiple occasions.
Multiple occasions.
Throughout the whole
Especially
thing.
with the, I forgot the name of the wildebeest thing. Oh my God.
Oh, the
Turning into Nani now.
rhino thing.
Yeah, the rhino.
'Cause
That I
that-
always thought was the same species from like the Attack of the Clones one. Then I checked it up in Wikipedia, and it's not. And
It's different.
it
Well,
ruined my day.
and that becomes their signet.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But I
Because-
also forgot the name of it. But
Yeah, that he defeated, but it wasn't really him, it was the child.
It was the child.
And then-
Well, but he tells the armorer that he didn't defeat it.
I know. He doesn't lie about it, but it's this beautiful thing about how the child hasn't really, we don't really know how long was he encased the whole 50 years? Was anybody with him before? What happens?
Is
We
he
don't know if
cloned?
he has a system of morality or anything, but there's something about just his
Mm.
innocent instincts that he found this person that protects him and instinctually protects him
yeah.
back. Even though he's supposed to be the inferior, he ends up protecting him. So it's just
Yeah.
like this back and forth.
And everybody else, except Cara Dune, I guess. But
then-
okay, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna get into the Gina Carano thing because I was gonna get personal, but that's for another conversation, maybe.
No, but then the beautiful thing is that you have the Mandalorian and with his strict system of honor and all these things, and how he fans compassion from the child.
Yeah.
So you get both sides of the story there. You have a guy that is all Western badass. I know what I need to do, and then meets this kid who's actually more powerful than him and becomes humbled by it and actually learns compassion and betters himself. So there's so many ways the story can go forward. I'll hope they'll stick to that.
Which is an interesting analog with IG-11, right? Because IG-11 was programmed to kill no matter what, and then it was nurtured to learn how to care.
Yes.
Which is something that then
when it
Mando
becomes
has
the
to
nanny,
learn.
that
It's
was
like
so
inherent
great.
hatred towards like robots. And it's like, wait, if a robot can change, then maybe I can change too. type of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's like Trek. It's an onion. There's layers.
There's
so many themes that are explored because with the cyborg as well. Like you don't expect humanity from an AI, and then not only does he nurture, but then he sacrifices himself to save them.
Yeah, and that's such an interesting theme because like sacrifice is such a big part of Star Wars, but the way that IG-11 kind of goes down in the fact that it's like the first iteration of the story, it's like at the end of the first season, it's telling us what we know, but usually what happens after what they tell you what you know, it's telling you, okay, well none of that is the way you thought it was, or none of that had to be, or like it moves beyond that. The second I truly think like the second trilogy the second like part of any trilogy or any story, I don't know how long the Mando is going to be. I think that if it's 3 parts or 5 parts or something that has a good middle would be best, but I don't know how many seasons they're planning. But I do think the second season is going to be very important because the second part of a story is going to say everything that happened before doesn't matter because you have to find the answers for yourself.
I mean, isn't that in a way what they set up with when Gideon gets out of the TIE fighter with the Darksaber?
Yeah, that was so cool.
It's kind of like, it's a monkey wrench. It's like, hey, forget that. It's like, what's up with this?
It's like, what?
Yeah,
come on. And how about when Mando gets the jetpack for the first time? How awesome
you were
was
expecting
that?
him to get it.
Yeah, so I always
it was cool, but
I love.
We're always expecting it to happen. I wasn't.
The jetpack, of course, he's Mandalorian. He's gonna get it, especially since the whole season he was upgrading his armor all the time. So like you expect him at some point to get the jetpack.
Well, awesome to see him fly for the first time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That is a very like guy thing to be like, oh yeah, he's gonna get a jetpack because like Bobo had the jetpack.
Well, no, all Mandalorians have the jetpack.
Yes, but you already know that they're just like falling behind, and he hadn't been with you. There's no guarantee that he was gonna get it. I agree with Ty. There's no reason to actually expect that to happen.
Yeah, no, it was definitely like, it didn't have to happen.
True.
But when the armorer gave it to him, I was like, okay, cool. But then she like, did she call it like the
Phoenix
something? Yeah. And I was like, oh Lord,
here we go, myth again.
Here we go. Yeah, it was really cool. Like I think that was even Taika Waititi that wrote that last episode that it was just chock full of like mythic references. It was just like I just hope he's given a little bit more. Not just the one episode. I hope he's given something more of like an arc that he can contribute to maybe as a writer, because he knows it, like he gets it, but sometimes it's a little too on the nose. That makes any sense.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I felt like they were like testing the waters with each director.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, very much so.
They were like, okay, let's see what can each bring, and who knows? It might be like a beautiful potpourri of like that could be what defines that. Now I'm just like setting up my own expectations, so I'm just gonna set it down. But take it back.
Take it back.
No, that's good. That's good. I mean, yeah, like I think you're spot on, because like when they took away one of the women directors, I wasn't really sure what to think about that, because I was like, oh, was that a choice, a creative choice, or was that was that her choice, or I don't know what's going on right now with with what they're doing. and I will like kind of delay my expectations a bit to see what's actually going to happen. But I have a lot of faith and I have a lot of trust in like what Filoni and Favreau are doing.
Yeah.
I really, really do, because I mean, like that first season, like there were some risks taken. There was some there were some really cool threads there that I really, really liked. So.
And but before we go like into like some speculations, because I think we definitely want to do that. Like I want to, especially like with what was said before of like guy expectations of what Mando should have, and sort of like also tying in with what Mo was saying. Like I wanted to also tie it a little bit with like our conversation with the sequel trilogy and myth and expectations and fandom. And like, why is it that The Mandalorian is so accessible to all fans when, especially like some fans that are very anti-sequel, that they hate, like most of the sequel trilogy films, or at least The Last Jedi and whatnot, but they're super anti-Disney, but then are super on board with The Mandalorian. It's like, how is The Mandalorian different that it appeals to everybody?
I have a little bit of an opinion about that because oh God, because like I would like to ask them which episodes that they thought were not necessary in the first season.
Oh, I can answer that if I were going to be taking the other side.
Yeah,
I would say the Seven Samurai episode.
The Seven Samurai episode.
Yeah, where he's like training the village to fight back.
Really? You would say that
Sanctuary?
No, I don't personally think that. I would say that like if I were gonna like
you would say that was the one? Because I saw a lot of people didn't like The Prisoner.
I love that one.
I thought you were asking that question like based on the perspective of people that like would be,
I know
against.
I was, but now I'm thrown for a loop because maybe it is way more various than what I originally thought.
I just think it would be that one because we've seen Seven Samurai done a billion times before, and two because of the whole subtext romance thing. I think some people, especially like the anti-sequel crowd, would not be into that because it's just like, oh, I just want Boba Fett to be badass. I don't want him to fall in love. I want him to kill people. So that's why I think that episode would be like, oh, he's so compassionate, helping people kill other people and falling in love. Why can't he just like go out and save people and kill people?
Oh my God, that's so
I don't know.
funny that you say that because like that was my least favorite episode of the whole season. Everyone in my this is so funny because everyone in my like friend group loves that episode, like loves it, and so I felt really bad for like not liking it,
not loving it.
Yeah, and it's also like done by a female director, so I was like,
you felt really bad about it.
Yeah, but I was like, I just wasn't sold on that one because I felt like you said, like I've seen this many times.
That's the only bad thing though about it. Yeah.
It's the only
honestly, it kind of felt like a filler episode. Like it was just like a pause in the story. Honestly, it added something with like the more nurture and everything, but it was honestly kind of one of the more boring episodes. Like,
well, but it goes into like his psyche of like wanting to leave the warrior life and wanting to take off the fucking helmet.
Yes. Yes.
And when I say the take off the helmet, I don't mean it in the literal sense. I mean like
I know
esoteric, mythical sense of like laying down that life.
I know, but you didn't necessarily need to devote an entire episode to that. Like just the way the episode was framed, it really did feel like a filler episode. I'm sorry, it just kind of.
But it had.
But how is it less of a filler than the Prisoner episode?
Okay, so I think like let's take this from a feminine perspective. The women in the episode that Bryce Dallas Howard, I think is her name, directed.
Is it Bryce or Breeze? I never know.
Oh yeah,
I always assume it's Bryce, but I don't know.
I think it's Bryce. But yeah, it had a lot of women characters, but it didn't quite go into depth of like what their story meant for Mando. You can interpret it based on very, very, very little. Like you can take what you want from it, but there really was no, like Mando didn't react to a lot in that episode. A lot of things just happened and he just like went along with it. And at the very end, he was going to leave. He didn't really learn anything. And then the child was almost killed because he
let his guard down.
Yeah, he let his guard
everything.
Got
down.
comfortable.
Yeah, but it's like we didn't really learn much about Mando through that particular episode. It was more of something that we, like you said, like we've seen this many, many, many times before. It was lots of stereotypes, but it didn't have a lot of meaning to me. Whereas like the prisoner episode, like literally every single thing in that episode, I can provide some kind of like psychological meaning for. And
But you said though that you think that other people would think that that was the unnecessary episode.
Yeah,
Well, why
I
would you
do.
say that though?
Because first of all, I was told that by many people. So I kind of thought
Other people's opinions, yeah.
Other people, yeah, especially like I had a couple of Star Wars fans that I knew at my job, and they come by every once in a while and they would talk about it with me, and that kept coming up, like, oh, but that episode was just filler. That episode was just filler, and I'm like, and then another aside from that, there's another one.
I think those two episodes are complementary in a way.
Well, in my personal opinion, every single episode is necessary.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But I do think I think the one with the village could have been improved upon, and they could have explored the characters a little bit more. I think in that instance, I think there's a lot packed into it, especially with like the walker thing or the ATST kind of thing. There's just a lot of stuff packed into that was like kind of unnecessary, that could have been shaved off to provide more character development. But it's fine, because at the end of the day, like every single episode to me like provides that full arc. Like the full arc is what matters, right? It's like the whole thing, the whole
You kind of learn something after each episode.
Do you think
After
we'll
each
see the
episode.
villager again in season 2?
Yeah, I hope so. If not, then we've lost something.
Then
Something in the way.
would.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that means we have to see. I mean, I think that for those 2 episodes, because based on this conversation, those are the 2
Controversial ones?
Not controversial, like quote unquote disposable ones.
What about the bounty hunter? No. What was the one with where he goes to the desert, or because he's ship?
Chase for the egg.
Yeah. Oh, with the useless Han Solo wannabe.
Yes, the Han Solo wannabe guy. Yes.
Right.
Yes,
So, you're right. You're absolutely right. The reason I forgot that one is because it was so forgettable.
In our
and I
circles,
hate, what's his name? I think it's Toro Calican. I think it's his name. Fuck
wow,
that guy.
that was pretty good.
Yeah. Fuck that guy.
I don't know names.
Wow,
but
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, because it was a useless episode. I mean, it was great because you see Tusken Raiders, but besides that, nothing. Well, swoop bikes. Swoop bikes were great.
I have a conspiracy theory about that episode that I talked about on What the Force, but I will provide it here because I think it's the most fun theory, is that it was actually ghostwritten by George Lucas.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. So if you go back and you watch that episode, think about it as you're watching it, and I think you'll see it.
Okay.
Ghostwritten.
That's good advice for that one. Okay.
If you think about it, because it says that it was written by Filoni.
Mm-hmm. And he's George Lucas's son.
Basically. But it's very George Lucas. The speeder bikes, George Lucas was a big fan of like go fast things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The ship breaking down over Tatooine, which was a big part of the Phantom Menace. Yeah, just think about it.
Okay.
just leaving that little nugget there.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
We do know
really
he
fun.
was on set a couple of times at least.
Yeah. Yes, totally. And it would be really cool, even if he just like nudged elbows a little bit with Filoni and was like, "You would be really cool," as if you did an episode.
I think that seems more likely if I were gonna buy it. And then like he said like when he's directing the episode, it's just like, hey, why don't you change that line to be this? No, why don't you let me direct this scene? Okay, I'll buy the conspiracy theory. It's better than Flat Earth.
It could also be like a nod to like the tip of his hat to his master as a Padawan or something like that.
Yeah, very
absolutely.
well could be that. I
But
don't
you're
know.
right. That is the useless episode. Holy shit.
Yeah, that is the one.
That is the only episode that serves to like set up season 2.
Yes. I can find meaning in
Holy
every
crap.
other episode. That's the only episode where I have to really, 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 really
dig deep.
yes. And like in ways that are like really conspiratory.
And like trying to force yourself to find it. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So you
Very
think
much
we'll
so.
see all the prisoners from the Prisoner episode in season 2?
No, because I think that was like really much about his journey
Yeah.
then. I mean, we could see any one of them. I don't think they're gonna all show up together, and if they do, then
Felix.
like,
Well, we know that Ben Burtt, that's his name, the comedian.
oh, is he coming back?
He is confirmed to be coming back in season 2. God, I hate him. Oh my god. I mean, as an actor,
Interesting.
maybe not a comedian. He's fine.
Let's
but as
see.
an actor,
Come on. Let's not just, raise our expectations too high either. Let's just wait for what happens. Stop.
that's what I read.
I know. No.
That's
I
less.
know.
That's less spoilery and less, conspiratorial than Captain Rex and Boba Fett and Ahsoka.
Yeah, I know.
And
Okay,
what,
that's
all these
Bo-Katan, too.
fanboys talking about Ezra. It's like, I forgot the name of the actor that was saying that he was going to be Ezra in live action like this week or last week.
yeah.
And then he said like, dude, guys, messing with you. It's not real. And then Star Wars theory and everyone's just like, oh my God. Like,
It
dude,
is
he already
real.
debunked it himself. Like, stop.
Oh
Stop the
Yeah.
hype train. Yeah.
But let's just wait. Comes out October
Well,
30th.
we only have 3 weeks.
I know.
So we're in a good time frame.
We're in for a good time.
Throw out all of your ridiculous conspiracy theories like right now, or you
Yeah.
can never do it again.
But do we think that Ahsoka is a given?
I think Ahsoka's gonna show up.
Like, I
I
have
think
mixed
so.
feelings about it. What do you think, Ty?
I think so. Filoni, this is his moment. Like, this is
Yeah.
his time. This is his story. It's the second season. It makes sense. Like, even in the smallest way, I don't expect it to be like a lot. I expect it to be very like small.
Like a
'Cause I
soft pilot for her own thing.
Yeah, because I don't think Filoni's gonna. I think he's building up. I hope he's building up to something more for her.
Could you imagine an Ahsoka series?
I hope so. I hope it's animated, honestly, because
Yeah.
I think that's because it originated there. It should end there, and I think
Mhm.
that her mysticality, like I think like that
Works
epic
more in an
aura.
animated. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
What if Ahsoka meets Luke? At some
Why
point.
would you, wait? What?
Like Luke is in his journey now, like during the Mandalorian, like to discover Jedi artifacts before he like establishes his new Jedi temple, the new
Yeah.
Padawans. And we know Ahsoka's still around looking for Ezra. What if they met up at some point in this timeline? And we get to see that like either in a show or an animated version.
That's just too many. It's too many
That's
characters.
too much. I think.
No, how is
I
it
don't
too
know.
much? Like it's Anakin's Padawan meeting his son.
Oh my God.
It's like it's the least convoluted thing that I've seen Star Wars do. I think Rey being a Palpatine is way more convoluted than like Ahsoka meeting Luke.
If they do that in Mando, like if they take like one episode.
Oh no, not in Mando. No.
Okay, I was gonna say, or if they do that,
I just meant like in general.
they would. I feel like they would have to do that live action just because.
It has to be Mark Hamill.
Pretty big
has-
deal, yeah.
Yeah.
That's got at least they have the technology to make it look like Mark Hamill at least. If they make him act it and then have
Mhm.
some kind of younger
Yeah. Mhm.
CGI.
Like they did in Rise of Skywalker, which looked great actually.
Yeah, totally. I think that would be really cool, and it would actually maybe find a way to kind of fix those threads and like kind of tie things together better for the saga. That would be really cool because I do
That would
know
be.
like
Mhm.
Filoni has said over and over again that like Ahsoka is like a central part of this whole story. Like she has become a part of the Skywalker saga too much, like so much so that to the point where she is like in the Last Jedi. No, not Last Jedi. Sorry. Oh my God. The Return of the Jedi. Like, why can't I remember the darn name of the movie? In the Return of the Jedi novelization. In the novelization, Filoni said that the only thing that was not canon was that when Anakin became Vader, his first thought was of Padme. And he said that it would have been of Ahsoka because he already knew Padme was dead. So he would have thought of Ahsoka.
And letting her down.
Yeah. And actually doing everything that she had warned him of.
Yes.
So he said that, and to me, like, that kind of, like, always kind of comes back, because it's like, okay, Ahsoka is always there. She's always there in kind of like these pivotal moments. So it would be really cool if they continued to kind of tie her into things in ways that, you know, she wasn't there before, but she, again, it's like that kind of.
But she could have been in the background, but we don't know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
What are
it
you saying,
reflects
Mo?
on like Rebels, like you can see
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, exactly.
like that dynamic of, you know, you were once the student, and now all of a sudden you find yourself in a position where, in some senses, I could be your own master at this moment.
You're quoting Darth Vader there in A New Hope.
Yes, exactly. Yes, but
Once
from
I was a student, now I am the master.
exactly, yes,
Only a master of evil, Darth.
but from the flip side of it, like, oh, you thought out you were the master, but that's just your hubris, that's just that ego aspect of it, versus that transcendence version of Ahsoka there.
Yes, going beyond the Jedi.
I've broken past that. That dynamic, that dual thing, that duality, the duality.
Yes.
It's breaking past the duality into the understanding of everything. Yeah, the transcendence.
Yes. It's
But to that point,
I tried to find other words for it, but that's the only word I can find for
it. It's like there's it's so hard to
put
place
into words.
Yeah, especially if, and this kind of ties back to like that Baby Yoda thing. Like, just because we don't have the words to explain things doesn't mean that you don't have the understanding of what's happening.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. And you have very good words, Mo.
The best words.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
I've got
Believe me, I've heard all the words. I've heard all the words.
The words are there.
You have the best words. The best words. Believe me. Bigly.
On that note, I think we should actually wrap it up, because we've been going on forever and listeners are going to get bored. So,
or extremely entertained.
Who knows? Regardless, I think I had a lot of fun.
I had a lot of fun as well.
Thank you so much for coming on, Ty. You're amazing. You've done all the research.
Yeah. Thanks you.
Thanks, you guys. This was really fun. I appreciate it. Y'all are really fun to talk to. Very cool.
Well, anyway, you sign us out.
Oh, that's your job. You do it way better than I ever did.
Well, guys, I think this is it for the episode. Please follow us on Twitter and YouTube. Please listen to Ty Black on Wit and Folly, because she is amazing and has way better breakdowns of everything that we did. She does this essay style and it's fantastic. And she has references from pretty much everything in pop culture that is around. So we love you, Ty. And please join us again. Like, subscribe. We're amateurs, but we're awesome. Bye. Mwah.